at night. And I just wanted to talk about this because I was doing some thinking. So, as you guys know, I've been exercising more. I've been putting myself out more from hermit mode because I tell myself, hey, you know what, Erica? You can't be fearful about certain things. You can't fall into old habits because the moment that you do those kind of things, right, you lose out in life. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so I think I did a stream before, right, talking about people who don't want to get out of bed, right? People don't want to get out of bed, in my opinion, because they just wake up and they feel negative. They think to themselves, oh, I don't want to move out of bed because if I get out of bed, then I'm going to have to face the world, right? And it makes people feel insecure about themselves at all. They don't want to get started on their day. They rather just go in their safe space. And I can talk about this from personal experience, right? You guys know I've been extremely transparent about these kind of things, maybe a little too transparent about stuff. But the way that I see it is, hey, you know what? Whatever. My ego is nothing. I rather have this stuff out there because maybe it'll resonate within someone and maybe it'll actually help them, with their life. Because a lot of people, I feel, they talk about things like what you should do, but they don't really talk about it too much like, oh, this is the stuff that I've been dealing with. This is the kind of things that just float around in my head and this is what I recognize. So, right, let me talk about different kinds of people out there, right? You got people who get out of bed and they're like, hey, I got to get on with my day. You know those people, right? Those go-getters. But then you also got people, hold on, I got to turn back. You also got people who will say things like, oh, yeah, I feel crappy today. I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay in bed. And it's totally fine to lay in bed, to stay an extra hour if you want. But don't make it a habit. If you want to have a lazy Saturday or lazy Sunday morning, go right ahead. But there is a very fine line between facing your day and just kind of hiding under the covers, hoping that your problems will go away. And for me, I've realized that I spend so much time just kind of like saying, oh, I don't want to face things. I don't want to face things, that it adds up, right? And when it adds up, that causes insecurity. And that's why I think it's so important for people to say, you know what, all the fears that I have in my day and life, I just got to plow through it. You got to work through it, because if you don't work through it, again, it's going to take up extra space in your head. So here's an example. Let's say you got to make an appointment with let's say you got to fix your fridge, okay? Let's say your refrigerator broke yesterday. You're thinking, crap, I hate my day. I got to call up the fridge person, or I got to fix it. Oh, I hate it so much. And then you just get into this negative mindset. But what you could do is say, okay, well, I got this appliance person that I trust with fixing fridges, or you go on Yelp, find a good person, right? Give a call, put the ball in their court, make an appointment, call them up in the morning, right? And say, okay, I'm pissed off about my fridge. Well, don't tell them that you're pissed off with the fridge, but just tell them something along the lines of, I'm agitated, just say something like, hey, my fridge broke yesterday night. I was wondering if you can swing by and help maybe sometime today or maybe next week or this week and fix my fridge, because it's not turning on. I don't know, like, it's not getting cold. And once you leave a message like that, right, the ball is in their court, and then you feel alleviated because at least you know that you did what you could to get the fridge fixed. Let's say you don't want to fix it yourself, right? At least you put the effort in to send it off to someone or make that effort to have that fridge fixed. So you don't go the rest of your day saying, oh, frick, I hate my fridge so much. I can't believe it broke yesterday. Oh, I can't believe it broke 2 days ago, because that takes up negative headspace in your mind. And I don't want you guys to go on through your life saying, I got all these problems, but I don't fix them because I'm so stressed out about my problems, because it doesn't do you any freaking good. You guys get what I'm saying over here? Time, what I realize, is so valuable. Mental headspace is so valuable. And I think I've reached this point in my life where I just kind of look at things and I just say, hey, you know what? All the problems that I have in my life, right? Am I trying to actively solve it? Or if not, right, do I have a plan for it? Right? What is my game plan, kind of thing? And that's something that it's something that requires me to do a lot of change. and I'm comfortable being open about that because I think that it's better for people to be comfortable with change rather than be set in their ways and you don't change at all. You see, there's nothing good about not changing certain things when you have problems in your life. There's nothing like proud about saying, oh yeah, 5 days ago my fridge broke and I'm still pissed off that my fridge is broken. But if you don't do anything about it, right, again, the fridge will still be broken. And I think that people do this kind of stuff, not only with a fridge, but they do it in other areas of their life. For example, right? Let's say if you aren't taking care of your health, right? You keep doing the same thing over and over and over. You still eat crap food. You talk to yourself negatively, and you just let these problems compound on themselves, and you let it affect your headspace to the point where you wake up feeling like you're not worthy, that you things like that. And it's like, of course your day is like freaking negative, because how can your day be positive if you have that negative freaking mindset? You see? So for me, I'm working out now, right? I'm exercising, I'm eating healthier. It's not easy. I'm going to tell you that straight up. It's not easy for me to be completely on a healthier diet, but most of the stuff that I eat now is good. It's mostly salad. I'm trying to stick with keto, and I'm trying to limit my carbohydrate intake. I'm trying to stay away from gluten as much as possible, because I found out that if I eat too much gluten, I actually break out in like some really itchy rash on my lower back. And it's like painfully, like it's so itchy. It's crazy how itchy that rash is, and it just gets triggered from eating a dinner roll or two. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, but I looked it up and I was thinking, how come whenever I eat bread, I get this super itchy rash? And that's what I figured out. So that's why I have to make these kind of changes, because I don't want to live my life being super itchy, is it? So that kind of thing. It's just stuff I recognize, and yeah, I'm not happy doing a lot of these lifestyle changes, but I have to do these changes, right? I want to problem solve. If I feel like I'm breaking out in terms of like some kind of like rash from what I'm eating, it's in my best interest to stop eating that food or severely limit it, because if I don't, I'm going to still have my problems, right? Or I could just continue what I was doing and then wake up, just every time after I eat it, like a couple hours later, I start getting severely itchy. And that's not a good feeling, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, your problems that you have, you cannot let it dictate your headspace to that degree. Yes, I understand. People would say, oh, Erica, you just don't understand because you don't really deal with like a lot of like real problems. I get it. But everybody has problems, right? And plus, what is defined as a real problem? Is all problems supposed to be some big thing? Because people have problems with their mental health. People have problems with body image. Like, problems are not just like small little, defined kind of categories in terms of like what is defined as a real problem. Okay? But everybody has problems. And that's why I mentioned this kind of thing, because I don't want you guys to just stay in bed, and then you feel like you're a freaking loser. And then after you spend your day feeling like a loser, right, you just kind of stay in your safe space, your little Gudetama zone. You look back at your life and you say, what the did I accomplish with my life, right? That's the way I see it. And I don't want to live that kind of life where I just kind of think to myself, I always stayed in my comfort zone, and I didn't become a person that I thought, hey, she's trying to actively work on things. And yeah, so again, I know people stay quiet on this kind of stuff, but I don't really care about my ego and things like that, because a lot of people have egos, and I think ego preservation is what prevents people from really just opening up to a lot of people. It's like cool to be that cool person who says like, oh yeah, my life is perfect, I have no problems, everything's awesome, my day is always awesome, right? Like, it's the cool thing to do on YouTube. Nobody wants to hear about a person who's dealing with problems on YouTube, because that's not cool. That's not cool at all. Like, you got to be picture perfect. You got to have like that wonderful smile and just be like, I'm always happy, I'm happy all the time, my life is great. You see that in online dating too. Have you guys come across that? You know, those people who will be like, oh yeah, my life is just amazing. I want to find an amazing partner we will have an incredible lifestyle. Look at me, I'm a prize and things like that. I'm always so wary about those kind of people because I always think to myself, you know, those online dating profiles, they are clear portraits of perfection, you know, and that there's can be a lot of deception, a lot of manipulation behind that too. So I don't trust it when people have like picture perfect kind of things. I don't trust it at all. I know I'm not the only person who has flaws in her life, okay, or flaws in their life. I know that 100%. But when I come across people who is just like, they want to always seem so fucking perfect, it actually agitates me a bit because I know from personal experience, right? Nobody lives a perfect life. And when people put up walls and they just try to portray themselves as always perfect and always great, always like never having a freaking problem in their life, it's so alienating. And it actually, like I said, it irritates me a lot because you don't find that to be a genuine person. That's just me. That's just me. You know, I'm not saying that if you're a happy person, I don't find you genuine, but it's like when you try to when you see how people write about by themselves, it tells you a lot. It can tell you a lot about a person. So I would actually and say that, you know, those people who make it sound like their life is just absolute perfection. You know, those people who it's like they show up on social media and they have perfect smiles, perfect bodies, perfect hair, perfect this. Like those people, like understand those people are not perfection, okay? Do not get insecure about that kind of stuff because it's a manufactured image. If you want to put a manufactured image out there, hire an image consultant, right? Hire a person who will make sure that you look like absolute perfection with your everything. And you could do it. You could pay money to do it, okay? So I don't want people thinking to themselves like, oh, I'm not perfect, Erica. I can never be. You can be perfect with Photoshop and, you know, great pictures. And if you get a personal trainer and things like that, it's not hard to achieve. Plastic surgery, that kind of stuff, you know. It gets doable if people want to put the effort in, but a lot of people, they don't want to put the effort in because they just think to themselves, oh, I'm such a loser. And then they stay all day in bed just bitching about things. And yeah, you know, it's not good. It's not good. So yeah, again, I'm working out. I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to live a much better life now than I did before. And to be frank with you guys, I'm actually a lot more proud of myself now than I was before. Because before, it's like if you go into your safe space, again, you don't really gain anything from that. You have to really put yourself out there and just take yourself out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be dramatic, okay? But I think a lot of people, they have these goals about their life and what they want in their life. And yeah, get closer to that kind of stuff. That's just me. That's just me. You know, focus on the positive. Stay away from a lot of negative and you know, if you have a negative mindset, like get out of it, right? Get out of it. Like don't be that person who's like, oh, I'm so mad. I'm so agitated at myself that I gained, you know, I wanted to lose 50 pounds and I only lost 10 pounds in the course of 4 months. Like, okay, you failed, so you fell short. How are you going to get back on track? You know, as long as you're alive, you can always try again. And I realize that when I look at people now, I don't see people who try as failures. I see people who stay more in their comfort zone as failures. If you refuse to change, if you don't refuse to change certain things about yourself, and you know you have this pervasive problem, let's say like weight gain, right? Then yeah, you know that's a sign of a loser in my opinion, because those people, if you just kind of say, I wish I lost 50 pounds and I can't, but I try to lose weight, but I'm not changing my eating habits, I'm not changing my exercise habits, you know, those people, they're gonna just go on in life and just feel like some miserable person. And again, it's not easy, you know, it's not easy. Like again, I'm trying to cut down a lot of gluten from my life. I'm not too happy about that, but you know, it's a step. So yeah, I don't want anyone thinking like when I talk about these things, I'm like talking negatively about just being like tone deaf about this stuff, because it's not just, let's say, diet stuff, right? There's other things that people can work on too. How people speak to themselves is very important as well. If you wake up in the morning calling yourself a loser, you're going to feel like a loser for the rest of the day. No one is really going to tell you you're not a loser if you call yourself a loser. No one's going to do it. No one's going to do it, because if you say, I feel like a loser today, people are going to say, no, you're not a loser. Maybe you'll have a few people telling you that, right? But you won't really believe it. And there's a huge problem with people's, I think, self-worth, because they just let these negative thoughts control and affect them and just like whittle them down. So that's all I wanted to say today. And I hope maybe that this stream was insightful to you guys. And yeah, so that was quite a little walk and talk. I've been trying, I don't have my microphone at all. Let's see over here. Wise words, Erica, I'm on keto, been working well, fell off. Yeah, see, so Jim, for instance, fell off keto, okay? That's totally fine. The fact that Jim tried keto and went back on keto, even if he falls short for the next 5 times, I think hey, you know what? No big deal. At least an effort was put in to move forward. And that's what I'm trying to get at. You cannot go ahead and preserve your ego or be like that person who's like, I tried keto for 2 weeks and I failed. I'm such a loser. I'm never going to go back on keto again. I'm trying to do keto right now. It's very difficult for me because, I love gluten and I love carbohydrates. But I'm trying to be lower on the carb intake and exercise. So yeah, again, a failure is not a loser, in my opinion. I think a loser is a person who just quits, who gives up and says, oh, woe is me, I'm just a loser. And then they let their negative mindset get affected by these kind of thoughts. See? So yeah, I'm really, I'm happy that Jim is, getting back on keto. Or, getting back on anything, right? Anything that you perceive to be a positive life choice. Again, if you fall short, don't beat yourself up about it, okay? Don't start your day off all negative. And really, I know this sounds so cliche. It's hard for people to love themselves, but I really suggest people love themselves. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Find the worth in yourself. Even if you're not, the best person out there. You're not the most, the most aesthetic person or the most eloquent person or the most smartest person or the most sexiest person or the most charismatic person or the most graceful person. There's things about you that you have to cling on to. Okay, let's say you're a person. My God. Let's say you're a person where you struggle with weight issues, right? And you feel insecure about your weight issues. Okay, so what? Your weight doesn't define you. You want to shed that weight, you can shed that weight. But what are other good qualities about you? Okay, let's say you're a really good dad to your kids. Hold on to that thing, right? Continue being a good dad. Continue being a good human being in the world. But while you're doing that, right? Go ahead and shed the weight if you want to. That kind of mindset, I think, that's what people need to do. Hold on to the good that you have within you and then look at the negative and just reduce the negative kind of thing. Because that's what I'm doing right now. And I feel, like I said, I feel really happy about myself. I can actually say, when I look in the mirror now, I look at myself and I say, yeah, I'm not the most fittest chick out there. I'm not the most aesthetic chick out there, but I'm working on myself. And I know, even 5 years from now, even if I continue to work out, I'm not going to be the prettiest chick out on the whole freaking street. But you know what? At least I will look back at it and I'll say, I look better now than I did 5 years ago. I am still a good person. And I want you guys to kind of hold on to that thing too. You don't have to be the most, smartest, charismatic, whatever, sexiest, person out there. Just be you and be proud of you. Because we're all in different shapes, sizes, heights, skin colors. Some of us are really good speakers. Other of us suck. And that's what makes humans being unique. I know that sounds so strange for me to say it that way, but it's true. There's beauty in imperfection. I don't want everybody to be, let's say 5'10", looking like a German supermodel or anything like that. That would be so boring, right? But when you can see a person and you see, let's say, they're a person and they're trying to improve themselves and they're not perfect, but, they try to hold themselves to let's say a better standard than they did yesterday. I think that means more than just a person who's like, oh, look at me, I'm so pretty. That's it. So there's more to a person than just their looks. But I think we live in a society where a lot of the times, I don't know if it's just, a modern society thing, but it kind of gets rammed down in our brains that say, hey, if you're fat, you're worthless. If you're not beautiful, then you're worthless. If you're not, let's say, a guy who is, let's say, at least, I don't know what the average height is, 5'10", then you're worthless. There's a lot of things you can think negatively about, right? If you're a woman and let's say you're only 4'7", people can say, oh, you're worthless. All that stuff, right? If you're a woman past 24, 25, oh, you're worthless. There's so much negative crap out there. And I just choose to disengage with a lot of that stuff because it's like, okay, well, let's say you're not. Let's say you're a person who is 4'5", right? So what? You couldn't control the fact that you're 4'5". If you're missing a limb, you can't control that, right? If you're missing an arm or something like that, you can't control that. But what you can control is how you carry yourself and how you treat other people. And I've been inspired by coming across people where, you see people where they don't, how would I put it this way? They can be very cynical about life. You remember D? I was telling you guys about D in the subway. They can be very cynical about life, but they choose to be better. And once you come across people like that, you just feel like an absolute idiot for complaining about certain things that just seem so first world problemish. So yeah. By the way, in case you guys are wondering, have I heard back from D? No, I haven't. I still haven't. I don't know why they're not replying to me, but I wish him the best. And I will always say that I really do credit him for just making me aware about certain things in life. Life is not supposed to be smooth sailing, but if you have a certain, how would I say this? If you have a certain mindset, it's like you go through life so much more peaceful. And I really hope he gets housing. I really hope D gets housing. I hope that he becomes a pastor or something like that. Because as I mentioned, I would say I can't even remember the last person I spoke to that I felt was touched by God. It's really something. And he just has so much grace about him. He has more class in him, and like I told you, I felt so such an idiot because it's when I was talking to him, he was telling me, he said, make sure you get home safely. And I think I told you, I said, oh, he said oh, you should get home soon, it's getting late. And I told him, I said, oh, I don't have anybody waiting for me at home. And then he told me something along the lines of, at least you have a warm home. And it broke my heart, I just thought to myself, oh, Erica, you're such a idiot. You don't think about those things, right? But for him to have that much class and grace and not have a home, it just made me so aware about, I'm so lucky to have what I have. I have money in the bank. I have places that I can always be at. I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. If I want to get things, I can get things. If I want to buy something at a store, I can buy something at the store, no problem. If I want to buy a MacBook tomorrow, I could buy a MacBook, no problem. If I want to buy a car tomorrow, I could buy a car tomorrow. It's those kind of things. It's you really take it for granted. And I have running electricity and water and a fridge, and access to transportation if I really wanted. Like if I want to go on the bus, I could. If I want to call an Uber, I could. It's like all those things. It was just a really eye-opening experience for me. And again, I've come across a lot of homeless people lately, and I see how they are, and it just, I just kind of think to myself, homelessness is really one of those things where it can really break a person very easily, because people look at you a different way, that insult you, and it's very alienating, because if people pick up that you're homeless, they won't talk to you at all, right? They won't talk to you at all. They'll just think to themselves like, oh, this person must be a loser, this person must be a drug addict, this person must be this person must be that. And I don't find that to always be the case. And also some people ask me, why didn't I ask Dee how he became homeless? I felt like he didn't want to talk about it. He told me how long he was on the streets, and he told me like he told me about the housing situation, but he never divulged to me why he became homeless, and I just didn't feel comfortable talking to him about it. If he wanted to disclose it, he could have disclosed it to me, but I didn't want to push for it. It's like one of those things. Like I just didn't feel comfortable saying like, oh, so why are you homeless now? Because I felt like if he wanted to share it, he would have shared it with me, right? But he didn't. So I just didn't want to talk about it, kind of thing. I'm not going to ask a person why they became homeless, but he told me about like details about his life, and it just made me think to myself like, wow. He talked about how much he loves his kids, how much he wants to get his life together back for his kids, and he's a good person. He's a really good person. I felt like his heart was in a really good place, and his mind was just so clear. And that's the thing. Like, see, people are asking me like, you spoke to him for 2 hours and you don't know why he's homeless? That's the reason why I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to have this whole thing where it's like, it just makes me look so bad, because here's a person. Here's a person just being like, obviously, right? Obviously, like I was lugging things over, and I just didn't want to be like, oh yeah, so tell me, why are you on the streets? Because it's like, okay, I thought to myself, like, it's not really important to me why he's on the streets. What's more important is how he's going to get out the streets. And I really hope that he gets off the streets. I truly hope he gets off the streets. I truly hope that I hear about him in the future, because again, I wish him the best in life. And if he ever made it big or became successful, I would be so happy for him. I think he has the power to change people's lives. And I know he had a deep effect on my life too. It was such a warm character to him. What did I say? I think he's about 6'3", 6'4", a big guy. But he was really like so gentle. The soul was kind of like he was so gentle. And he just didn't let the negativity get through him. And I told you guys before, the reason why he said that, I asked myself, how can you not be cynical about life? How can you not be negative about life? And he told me, he said that he didn't feel. He knew that the people that raised him, the people that he cared about, were watching him from up above. And that made him just hold on to the faith that he has to be, strong. He has to have the values that those people try to push, those people like instilled within him. Like, even though they were dead, right? Even though they passed over to the other side, he didn't want to basically become, trapped in his mind, or just being broken down, because he had really good people who raised him well. So that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that just makes me think about that. And it just makes me realize that, I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful to have what I have in my life, and my life is kind of, shaky. But, I hold on to the fact that I'm moving forward and I'm not letting my fears get to me. It's not affecting me to the point where I'm just going to do inaction, you see? So yeah, am I still fearful about certain things in life? Of course. But I don't want to be paralyzed by that fear. I don't want to tell myself, okay, I don't want to do certain things. I don't want to go out and see certain things because, oh, well, what if this or what if that, right? You have much more to lose if you don't do certain things than if you do them, right? You want to go out, let's say someone invites you to check out, I don't know, like a movie, right? And you tell yourself, you say, I don't want to see that movie, right? You tell yourself that, right? I don't want to go out to the movies. I've known people like that where they say, oh, I'm busy. I don't want to do it. What do you gain by not going outside of your comfort zone? Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay. So you turn down an invite to go to the movies. Then what? You don't see the movie. Okay. And yeah, it's like you don't have a memory. And the reason why you don't have a memory is because of your choices. See what I'm trying to get at? Like, it's not just one thing. It's all connected. And that's why you have to get outside of your comfort zone. And you have to, just say, yeah, maybe I'm feeling depressed today. Maybe I don't want to go out today. But I can't let that negative voice in my head tell me, okay, yeah, Erica, just stay indoors. Because if I do that, I will lose out on memories or sights or foods or, things that I could see instead. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. So, yeah, that's the kind of thing that's just been floating in my mind. So don't wake up in the morning, okay, feeling like you're not worthy. Don't wake up in the morning feeling like you're negative. I know some people would say, oh, I'm so pissed off. I'm so pissed off because my refrigerator broke. I'm so pissed off that my computer's not working. I'm so pissed off that, my cell phone screen is broken. So what? So what if your cell phone screen is broken? You can't let that stuff control your life. You can't let that control your day because your life is so much more important than any refrigerator or any cell phone screen or, any little object. And it was hard for me to realize this, you guys. It was so hard for me to realize this kind of stuff because I used to be in that kind of mindset where it's like, oh my gosh, I got a scratch. Like, this is how petty I was, okay? I would think to myself, oh, I have a scratch on one of my items, like one of my leather items. Oh, I damaged it. Oh no, look, it's so flawed and things like that. I used to get really agitated about certain things, right? And I realized it's like, okay, so let's give an example, right? Let's say if I have this is just an example here, right? Let's say I have a handbag, right? Let's say I go out in the rain, it gets water damaged, right? Let's say that it gets, I don't know, the colors on the handbag get damaged. Okay, so I come back home, I see my handbag, right? I look at the damage on that handbag and I get pissed off about that handbag getting damaged. And then I get pissed off about it for like 5-6 hours, 2 days later, and I'm like, I can't believe my handbag got damaged. Do you know all the time that I spent on that freaking handbag? Those are times that I could have had happy memories instead. You see? And I don't want, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, you shouldn't let those items control your thoughts, because it's like, if you destroy a handbag in the rain, okay, so what? The handbag, you weren't planning to keep that handbag for the next 50 years, were you? No. It got destroyed. Its time was up. If it's not repairable, so be it. Try to find a way to responsibly dispose of it or recycle it. But if you can't, it's okay. You're not gonna, most likely people when they die, they're not gonna say, I want to be buried with this damaged handbag, right? I don't want to get buried with a damaged handbag at all. I have to get rid of it. So all these items that I have, right? I would just, I'm not planning, if I ever pass away, hopefully I live a very long life, but if I pass away, none of these items that you see me have, I wouldn't, it's like if it gets damaged, like frick it, you know, like whatever, right? These socks, these shoes, these pants, a shirt, you know, whatever. Like, I'll try to repair it. If I can't repair it, then that's it. But I'm worth more than these items. You know, the most expensive item that I own is my own life and my own brain. Because yeah, you can't put a price on that. Like my life is so incredibly valuable, and your life is too. So don't get stressed out if you like break something, or if you destroy something, or if you get a hole in your shirt or something like that. Like frick, whatever, you know. So yeah. If your fears are you, then you have to figure out what it is about you that you fear and work on that. Like if you don't think that let's say you want to be a vocalist, right? Let's say you say, oh, my voice sucks. Okay, so do some singing lessons, right? Go to a vocal coach. If you can't afford it, go and do some vocal training on YouTube. There are a lot of free videos, right? Like you don't have to say like the thing that I hate the most about myself is me. I really feel like people shouldn't hate themselves. They should hate the fact if they're not doing anything and trying to improve themselves, but they really shouldn't hate themselves. Like, why would you hate yourself? I wouldn't hate myself if I just, you know, if I was exercising for 1 hour, I would say, yeah, okay, I'm trying to burn calories, I'm doing 2-in-1 things, I'm walking, plus I'm exercising, plus I'm sharing these thoughts in hopes that maybe I'll help a person out. And maybe it will, maybe it won't. Most people, when they watch my videos, I think my engagement is like 2 minutes and that's it. I think most people are like, oh, we don't want to see her feet. We don't want to see her walk. But yeah, so I'm doing like exercising, plus talking, plus recording YouTube. And it's really like 3-in-1 because these are thoughts inside of my head. No. I mean, like, if you feel like something is hopeless, then for sure it's hopeless. I'm one of those people, like, I try to be very optimistic about things. I am actually a little too optimistic about certain things sometimes. For example, my JD stock. You guys want to know what's depressing? I held on to that stock for 2 years, almost 3 years. It went up. I bought it at 47. It went up to, I think, 110. You know what happened last week? It went down to 43. Yeah. And then the next day, I think after it hit 43, I was debating, should I throw more money into JD? But then I thought it's a Chinese stock. You know what? Screw it. I'm not gonna sell. You know what happened with JD? It went up 30% the next day. Like 1 or 2 days later, it went up 30%. So I'm happy I didn't sell. So I'm back at a profit, but you know, the whole thing with China and blah, blah. But yeah, I'm still holding on to JD. A lot of people say, oh, you should just sell JD. How come you didn't sell JD when it was 110? I have a lot of faith in that stock. So yeah, you could say I'm very optimistic about that stock. But I wouldn't recommend buying JD, okay? Not financial advice. I wouldn't recommend it because you guys can, for me sharing my experience with you guys, like I'd rather put in an American company. I'd rather put into a stock like, in my opinion, Apple. I'm just putting it out there. Put it into SPY, you know, put in an ETF, you know. I wouldn't invest more into Chinese stocks. I tried to be happy, then it got too fake, and then I became bitter and angry. Well, you have to ask yourself, right? What do you mean? You try to be happy. Okay. If you're working on your self bounce off actively and you actually see changes, you're going to be happier with yourself. Okay. Like I said, let's say you're a person who wants to lose 50 pounds. You lose 10 pounds. You might be all like, I still need to lose 40 pounds, but you'll be happier that you lost the 10 pounds than if you didn't lose anything at all. But if you don't make any like changes in your life and stick to it, then you would be like a fake happy, right? Like if, let's say for instance, right? Here's an example, right? Let's say I didn't exercise. Let's say I didn't change my diet or anything like that, right? I could go all about it and be like, oh, you know, I'm such a prize. I'm such an amazing person. I have such a great body. That would be fake as fuck because I wouldn't feel that way, right? I wouldn't feel that way at all. But with me exercising, with me doing diet changes and things like that, and me just having a much better mindset than I had in the past, like I'm more confident about myself. And it all stems from doing changes in my life. No, I sold Alibaba stock. JD is not Jack Ma. Alibaba is Jack Ma. Yeah. No, you gotta figure out what the problems are in your life and actively try to fix it. You know, you're not happy with your weight, get on a diet plan, get on an exercise plan, right? You're not happy with your skin, go to a dermatologist, have a skincare routine. There are always problems to a lot of, there are always solutions to a lot of problems in life. But I think people, they just get into this mentality of, oh, woe is me, I'm such a loser, I'm so ugly, that kind of thing. You want to know what the symbol of strength is? Look at any person on YouTube who has, let's say, like some kind of like if they lost a limb or something like that. Look at those people. There are people who are quadriplegic out there, and they have such a positive spin on life. There's this one guy, I forgot his name. He's a white guy, for lack of better description, and he married an Asian woman, and I forgot what his name, but he has like no arms and no legs, but that guy has such a magnetic personality. He is like, he has no arms, no legs. He has like a chicken drumstick of, that's what he calls it, as his leg. I forgot his name. I'll probably put it in a community post later on today. But that guy has such an attractive personality. He has a very can-do kind of attitude. And his attitude makes him more attractive personality-wise than a guy who just simply has all four working limbs. So if you are, let's say, mobile and you're just like, oh, I hate my life, I don't have a hot body. You look at this person who is basically like missing limbs or, has some kind of physical disability, and they have such a radiant personality. It makes you look like it makes you look like a child. It really makes you like look back at your life and be like, oh my gosh, I'm complaining that I don't have a great, I'm complaining about my weight issue or something like that, but I have legs and I can walk. Or I'm insecure about, let's say, my flabby arms, but I can lift weights, but I choose not to. You see? You got people who it's like they find ways to like brush their teeth, even if they have no arms, and they manage to do it. And yeah, there's a lot of things we take for granted as human beings, because we don't know how fortunate we are to have it. Again, having access to food, electricity, housing, and even the people who might hear the stream and be like, oh, Erica, you don't understand, like, oh, I'm on food stamps. Okay, you're on food stamps, which isn't a great situation. I get it, but hear me out. At least you're in an area, or you have like access to food stamps. There are countries out there, areas out there where if you don't have any food stamps, you don't have any low-income housing and things like that. There are remote areas out there in the world, believe it or not, where it's like you don't have any food, like you'll starve. You want to use the toilet, dig a hole in the ground, kind of thing. But yeah, I think Americans are just so I think Americans and a lot of people who live in first world countries, were just so spoiled. We take a lot of things for granted. We're like, oh, I don't have the newest PlayStation. My life sucks. Yeah. You know what I'm getting at? Yeah, don't take your day for granted. Don't take your life for granted. And don't take your mobility for granted. You can always change things. But the first thing you got to change is really your mindset and how you view yourself and view the world. And yeah, do some change. So I got to get going. I got to go grab dinner. I've just been walking back and forth for 43 minutes. Actually longer than that because I've been out. But yeah, I shall talk to you guys later. I will see you. And yeah, take care.